Business deck, investor deck, it has many names. The purpose is always the same. Get to the next meeting. This is what we're going to talk about in this video. This is not for decks which you sending after you already been introduced or you already have a continued discussions. This is just for the first impressions, what I think is important, how to do it, and my secret sauce tips and hints I've been getting along the way of doing this for more than 2 decades. Let's jump into it. First of all, keep in mind, this is an intro deck. It's not a deck about your business in an extensive form. So it's not a business plan. You don't need to tell everything. You just need to tell enough to raise the interest and get to the next meeting. This is the purpose of intro deck. You don't want to also reveal too much of your business to those persons whom you're not gonna talk more. So you don't want to put any information there which you don't want everybody to know. All right, those were the basics. Now let's start from the principles, ideas. First things first, most important things first. So if somebody gets your deck, the first thing in their mind, like you when you just started to watch this video, the very first question you had, is this the video for me? Am I in the right place? Why should I care? Is this relevant for me? Is this meaningful? And this is the most important thing in your deck as well. First, you have to set the stage. And by setting stage, I mean that you have to somehow convey the reader that this is important. There's a relevance. This is important. Because if there's no relevance, why should they bother with the rest? They don't need the details now. They don't need to know anything else except that why this is important. There are so many ways you can make a deck. It's about telling a story. So there's no right ways, there's no wrong ways. You can check thousands of different templates about different businesses, and you can copy those templates and approaches, but nevertheless, the best approach is the one which works for you, because you are telling a story that matters, a story that will evoke some emotions and get the response you would want to have, which is to get to the next meeting. So, when you're starting to think about how I will put the deck together, my recommendation is start with the why, the relevance. How do you do that? You should impress within the first 2 slides. Maybe the first one is just to put the title and just the name of the company or something like that, sort of like a cover page. But in the next one, you should already start to show the relevance. What is this about? Why is this important? What is the bigger picture? And when the reader has that one, they can start to appreciate more the details. I'm not actually too concerned either how many slides you have when you are within a reason. So I would say between 10 to 20 slides altogether. The number of slides is not important, but the quality of the slide it is. I would not waste any slide for any useless stuff there. So think very carefully what you put in there. There's another thing as well. Don't cramp too many things. Separate different things on slides. So one idea, one point per slide. One topic per slide. But move forward. It's a story. You have to tell the story. You have to start from the outset, the big picture, and then move on to the other aspects, which are more refined, more details. Then I have 3 principles, sort of guiding principles I want to apply to the decks I'm doing, and they are helping the storyline. Number 1, 10K. I call it 10K, 10 kilometers. It means that you are in an airplane. Maybe not 10 kilometers above the ground, but anyways, you having a high view, overview perspective on things. So you are not stuck on the details. What is the opposite of a 10K? It's quicksand. What does quicksand do? It will stop the motion. You will get sucked into the details. And when you're in an intro deck, you don't want to do that. Because if you stuck into the details, it most likely will raise more questions. And you may not want to answer those questions in the intro deck. You don't want to make any of those details you're giving or the story you're telling something where the flow of the deck, the motion of the story, stops at any point to a quicksand. So that's something to keep in mind. And a related thing to the 10K and a quicksand is something what I called nod effect. What is a nod effect? Well, you know when somebody's telling you something and you are agreeing, so you're nodding your head. That's the nod effect. And this is what you want to have. So through the whole presentation, you want to have the 10K view, avoid quicksand, and for each and every slide, have a nod effect. So when I'm listening to your story, reading your story, getting your story, I can nod. That's cool. Indeed, that's exciting. I love this. Yes, yes, yes. That's what does the nod mean. And this is what you want to get in the intro deck. So it's about storytelling. You have to tell a story which goes somewhere, which has relevance from the beginning. It will reveal more details along it goes. It's consistent. It gives enough information that you can follow the storyline. It doesn't make you stop at any point, and it doesn't raise too many questions where you don't have the answers in the intro deck. Because if that happens, the 10K drops to the quicksand, and that might be the end of your intro deck from the reader's perspective. How can you actually make that quicksand to happen? And you want to avoid that, obviously. One of the ways to do that is also that you have too many things in there. And this is related principle or idea. If those three were the guiding principles which are intertwined together, the fourth one is the leaning effect. What is a leaning effect? Well, leaning effect in my terms is that imagine you're starting to listen to someone. You're sort of leaning back a bit. You're taking the 10K view of things. You're just observing the big picture. You see the lay of the land, the big things, the importance, the relevance. You can nod and you're just in a comfortable position. And you just let everything in, what's coming. If you start to have a tiny bit of quicksand, if you put a lot of text, for example, into the slide, or it's a bit difficult to comprehend somehow, you have too many ideas there, or it's complex, or you haven't expressed the ideas clearly enough that you can do it in a laid-back position, the reader will start to lean in. And lean in means that you drop in the altitude from the 10K. They need to start to really focus on comprehending and thinking. And that's quicksand. Because when the thinking starts, they start to have doubts, questions, other things related, and not in a good way. You want to have those things happening, those ideas, finishing the sentence, jumping to the another great ideas and things, but on the positive way, which happens on the laid back mode, not in a lean in mode. Because when you go lean in, it also means that you're dropping the altitude and you're not getting back there. So keep that in mind as well. So when you're telling your story, start from the relevance, start from the most important things, start from the big picture. Make sure that it's easy to understand. Don't put too many things on the deck, so that you have one idea, one theme per slide. It's easy to understand, it's easy to note on that one, and it puts the story forward in every slide. And more slides you have, depending on the content. Sometimes if there's only pictures, then obviously it's not that hopefully heavy, if they're not diagrams or something like that. But nevertheless, the more time you take from the reader, the user, to get the message, comprehend the message, the more tiresome it becomes. And less they will input the data you want them to get. So naturally, you are actually starting to lose the altitude along the deck. And if you know that there are slides, for example, where you need to put more details, more stuff in there, make sure that you put those to the end part of the deck, because you're already losing the altitude anyways. You not quicksand, but you're getting people to the mode where they're not laid back anymore. They are leaning in. Once they lean in, they don't laid back anymore. So then they are already in that mode. But there's only so much people are willing to read. There's only so much they are willing to work before they lose the concentration and the focus. This is not a reading exercise. This is not an exercise of memorizing things. This is an intro deck where you want to get to the next meeting. That's the only purpose of it. It's a fine line. There's a lot of things to keep in mind. One of them is that you need to have enough information, that it's comprehensive, that there's enough stuff in there, that the obvious questions are already answered. And those big themes and topics you can find in any good deck template. There's the team, there's the mission, there's the pain points, there are the product, your solution, where are you in the progress, what's the company doing at this point, what is the financial operational situation, what's going to happen next, and so on and so forth. Those are details in a sense. You have to cover them, but it's the story which will make it or break it. And there's another aspect as well, which I haven't covered yet. And this is facts and emotions. What I recommend you to do is first put the storyline together, put all the information in there, make sure that it's consistent, and that's the fact part. And then you put another hat on, the creative hat on. Because if you have all the data in there, but people are not enjoying reading it, or you cannot make them to have a good time, have good feelings, most likely the end result will be that you will not get into the next meeting. So you have to have the emotions covered as well. And by that I mean that it looks nice, it's visually appealing, it has the story elements in there. And those can be whatever. It can be your personal story. It can be some customer cases. It can be whatever. But put something in there where people can relate to, feel, maybe laugh, have fun. So it's not just strictly business, but also a bit of fun and games and play. Because if you don't evoke any emotions, that's bad as well. Then you're just in the category that, I don't know, you wanna people either to absolutely hate you or love you. Because these opposites they can easily swap between each other. But if you're in the middle, nothing happens. It doesn't evoke any emotion. I've seen too many decks where the data is in there, where the information is in there, but it's so poorly presented, that it's so dull, that it has no hope to get anyone interested. Investors have too many decks. Investors have too many people pitching on them. And they are just people as well. They just spend a few seconds, max few minutes on your slides. And if you don't entertain them, if you don't make it appealing, they most likely will pass. At least most of them will. So it's your job to make sure that you do a proper job. Because that's what it is. You trying to convince someone that what you do matters. You're the right team to do it. You have the credibility to do it. And all the other aspects, what needs to be in place. And the deck will show that as well. By how it looks, what you tell, and more importantly, what you're not telling. Everything tells a story in your deck. So there was quite a bit of things in there. That was not a comprehensive deck video. We can go more in details. If you have questions, write them down on the comments section or ping me, and maybe we can even have some live sessions. This is an important topic. There's no right or wrongs like in any aspect of building your business, but this is important. Don't underestimate it. Be also creative, and don't worry if it doesn't look like exactly what the other people are doing, because different is as well good, but you have to be within reason different. Odd, weirdly different is not good, but being creative, you can sing a song, you can put a video and do some crazy stuff in there. If that tells your story, if that makes people to understand better and they get a quick understanding what's happening. So when you're doing your deck, please do all the work, do those aspects what I explained to you, use the guidelines if you think they are valuable. And when you have done it, let it dust on your deck or in your hard drive for a day or two and come back to it. And then see, how do you think about it? How do you feel about it? Is it good? And the real test is, when somebody has read the deck, what are they going to tell to the other people? If somebody asks, well, what do you think about it? What was in there? What are they doing? Why are they doing? Why does it matter? Do you give the answers to them easily? If not, if they cannot explain what you're doing in a simple few sentences, then the deck may not work. But the real test is, as always, do you get to the next meeting? Let me know how it goes and see you in the next video.